All right, hey guys, we are here. It's mid-morning, November 21st. I thought I'd do a quick update on Bitcoin, but I also want to talk about some other coins today. Uh, Not a lot has changed here, other than we are approaching now some targets here that would be worth noting. Here's our 4 hour on Bitstamp, Bitcoin to the dollar, where it's been just perfectly technical. And this you can see these median lines have contained this entire move rather nicely. So we're now in this fifth wave here under the assumption that we've got our count correct. So here's our fourth now, and we're putting in this impulsive fifth wave here, and we're seeing some signs of potential topping here. Now we've just come up and wicked the 100%. So if I wiggle that so you can see that maroon is 100%. That's the length of one. Our current one wave projected from our fourth wave, very common target for an Elliott wave count to top out. But we also have, so we have a box here because we also have the algo target, which would really surprise me if it's not hit. And we can see that's from this pivot down here. We've been able to identify the pivots that the algos are working from. So from this pivot down here labeled as our two wave up to this pivot here, here's the 50% right to the tick, and then this negative 23, this line here in green, is our algo target. So we've got this nice box here where we're looking for signs of a top on this move. Remains to be seen whether or not this is the fifth of this move, and then we're completing the entire impulsive structure, and then we'd be looking for a retracement, approximately back down to somewhere around in this range, because we'd look at a 50% of the entire move. The other possibility is that we are just putting in a one wave here before going, significantly higher. So that we can't really call that either way, but it is worth noting now that we're hitting some likely targets here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of profit-taking retracement. As to how deep it goes, well, that remains to be seen. But certainly, the first place you might be looking for some support would be back to the median line, right? As we go up to this outside edge, and you can see the negative 23 comes in right as we hit this edge, as we've hit it previously before. Looks like that could contain it with as relates to the market geometry. So somewhere in this box would be a reasonable spot to look for some profit taking. If we go to the hourly, you can see it a little bit better. So here's that count somewhat stripped bare. So here's our, from our pivot low where we're up after this negative 23 target. Here on the hourly, as we get into the Elliott wave count a little bit more, we've got in white here, we've got the 1, 2. We seem to be putting in potentially a third here. So if we were going to retrace that entire move, well, then we're back as it would relate to the 4 hour. That puts us back towards the median line. So if indeed this little cluster up here at around 85, 8600, we can just kind of put a projection on it as a possible roadmap. If that were to be our third, then we can look here. Our fourth, here's our 38 right here. We've got this prior resistance potentially offering some support here, but it could be anywhere from the 38 to the 50 if indeed it's going to give us a fourth wave, considering the bullish bias in Bitcoin and an expectation that we would retrace to somewhere between the third and fourth wave of the larger degree, then this is a reasonable spot to be looking back here at the 38.2. So as it relates to this topping action, we can see here, open this up a little bit, that if we've got this right, and we can see very, very clear subdivision into our 1 here, 2, we've got our 5-wave subdivision for an impulsive 3, we get an ABC into the 4, and it appears now that we're putting in an ending diagonal, which is very commonly found in a 5th wave, to complete this impulsive structure. And you can see here, if I projecting from our 1 wave, for targets the length of the 1 wave in blue, from our 4th here in blue, we get the 100% right here. But additionally, if we look at this and we take our see, let me wiggle it so you can see it. This second one here. So if we take our 2 wave to our, well, where have I got it? Here's my 2. I got it. Takes me a minute to find these sometimes. So, okay, I see what I've got. So this move here, this is the 1 wave projected from the 4 wave in blue. Okay, that's the line here. You can see where it starts. So you see the 1 wave here. Here's the 100% for the 5th wave target. Now, additionally, since we have an ending diagonal, I'm taking the length of 1 to 3 here, projecting from the 4, and we get this purple. So we get this very tight confluence zone here, right around 80, 86, 50. So we're getting a tight little pocket there as a potential target that would fit with the structure here as to, you know, when we get there, that could very well be this evening or tomorrow morning. So it looks like we're on track for that. That would not surprise me, and that's very close to our targets on the larger time frame. And we can also, if I add it here, looking for this pivot, if I just put a straight fib pull on this, and if I can get it exactly there to my 3. All right, so you see we came between the 50 and the 618. Here's our negative 23 of that target. Here's our 618. So we've got, you know, potentially we could be topping right here, but I think it would be not unsurprising. That's 84.60. I would be more inclined to get the expectation of somewhere here around 86.70 to finish out this because of this confluence zone here. So remains to be seen, but it looks like we're approaching some sort of an intermediate top here. I mean, with Bitcoin, you know, it's very dangerous to call a top because the market is just so strong and it just blows through things. You wake up in the morning and it's 700 points higher. But we're seeing some signs of potentially, at least from the Elliott count, but some topping action here. We're seeing a little bit of divergence now in our oscillators, telling us that at least at the time being, as we look at it here, potentially now we're starting to lose some momentum and could be topping here in the very near term. So not calling a top, just saying that potentially we could have an intermediate top here. I wouldn't be recommending shorting it, but I'd be looking for next opportunities to get long. So if we're going to top here with our 3rd, then we're looking for the 4th. Now we go down to the 15-minute. You can see it here again. So here it is in a little more degree. So we've got our pitchfork on here. Now this is the Schiff pitchfork. So I've moved up 50% in price. Here's our ending diagonal. Interestingly, per this count or in this structure here on the 15-minute, after getting our 1, 2, our 3, our 4 in this diagonal, look where we come, where this little retracement that we got last night off of the Tether news, we come right to the median line. And now we've bounced off of that. So we have some targets up here that, you know, look like we could be finishing this up here. So here's the edge of the median line. Here's the edge of the expanding diagonal. So potentially some topping action here. That would certainly make sense. Then we'd be looking for the next opportunity to be buyers. All right, so not a lot of change here. Still looking for some indication that we've topped here. We've finished this ending diagonal, that we've got a completed wave structure, and then we're looking for the next 50. All right, I'll wrap it there.